flavours. It's very fruity, very tropical.
So this is mostly stainless fermented, but it has had extended lees contact in the tank. The lees.
So today, our third day in Auckland, we are on a wine tour, and we've just finished at our first winery, and this is the name of the winery. I'm not really sure how to say it. I think it's Camus River, something like that. But this is the winery. This is the company that we're with today, and we're going to 3 different wineries, having lunch at one of them. And very informative. We've learned quite a lot about wine here in New Zealand. And well, stay tuned for more.
The wine regions. We're way up here in Auckland. There's a cluster of, not many, I think in total you're probably looking at about 12 up in the Bay of Islands around here. It's very humid. The equator runs through about here, so you're getting very hot and sticky up here. You're going to run into all sorts of problems around fungal infections, botrytis, powdery mildew, those kind of things. They're problematic. In Auckland, the region we're in, Matakana, an hour north of Auckland, Clevedon, about half an hour south, and Villa Maria Estate by the airport. That's Gisborne. It's on the east coast. They grow a lot of Chardonnay, Gewürztraminer, some Riesling, and Pinotage grown there. Hawke's Bay, around Napier, Havelock, North and Hastings. This is the red wine capital. It's the second biggest growing region in Auckland, in New Zealand, and that's where we grow all these Merlot, Cabernet Francs. They'll always be sourced from Hawke's Bay. On the label, it will usually tell you, unless it's generic, unless they've drawn the grapes from various regions, it will say on the label, Hawke's Bay, Marlborough, Gisborne or Central Otago. Further down to Waipara, this is where all the earliest Pinot Noir was grown. It's 70 kilometres north of Wellington. There's some amazing Pinot Noir, but from that parallel there down, you cannot ripen Cabernet because the winter here, as you can see New Zealand there, we are one of the most southerly regions in the world to grow grapes. So from here down, the winter comes on 6 weeks, progressively 6 weeks earlier. You just don't have that ripening length to get Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc or Syrah ripe. There will be some small examples where you can, in maybe a microclimate, a valley, a heat trap in Marlborough, but mostly from here down, it's all white and Pinot Noir. Marlborough, top right corner around the town of Blenheim. This is the engine room for the industry. The total plantings in Auckland are something like 1.2%. The total plantings in Marlborough, 62%. 80% of the entire volume of that $1.5 billion industry come around this region. Just next to it you have the region of Nelson. It's all white. All the Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Riesling, Gewürztraminer and Pinot Noir.
Okay, so this is the North Shore of New Zealand, Auckland area, towards some place called Black Beach, which supposedly sand is black, but you can see the surf right here. Okay, so we're standing out here and look at this. These are all gannets. All sitting here. I don't know. They look like they might be nesting, but I'm not really sure. And there's more of them up here. And here's some more of the Black Beach. As you can see, this to me is probably what New Zealand is all about, or when you picture New Zealand. All these bluffs, and the beach and the surf.
Oh, I love that bird. That's my favorite. Oh,
They're
so
just
cute.
beautiful. See if we can find another picture.
What's the one that strips all the leaves?
So would you like that one?
It's okay.
I know everybody's all had that.
Yes.
Yeah, I never liked white sand. Rosé is very good. And why is rosé making a comeback? Because it is.
I think it's a dry style where people might be used to the sweeter style. It's a really fruit-driven wine. It's refreshing over summer. The drier styles will go nice with seafood as well as meat, so it's all round. And it's just funny because wine goes in and out of fashion all the time. It's
Really?
just what the customer wants.
Except a good cab never goes away.
Yeah, good cab is always. Yeah, that's
Always in
That's a
style.
staple.
Yes.
So this next wine's our 2014 Riesling. So our winemakers won 3 of New Zealand's best Rieslings on previous vintages. So it's an up dry style of Riesling. So it's not a super sweet or it's not bone dry. It's just
And the
something
grapes
between
came from where?
Marlborough.
This is grapes. You've got Vitis sylvestris, which are wild creeper grapes. You find them in equatorial regions. It's Vitis vinifera that we make wine from. They're cultivars, and the reason they are able to be cultivated is they pollinate themselves. They're hermaphroditic flowers. So this little tiny flower here, what you start off with is this ball like that, and then that little petal is going to open up and turn into this flower. Then underneath that flower, you're going to end up with this one wee cap like that. And that process of pollination, if you get a storm come through or a wind come through or a deluge of rain, it'll blow all that pollen away and it'll never set. And you get a condition which in France is called millerondage. In England they loosely translate it to hen and chicken. And it means you get lots of little berries and some berries on a bunch that just never develop. And when the bunch is picked, of course, it all goes into the hopper. So you'll end up with real berries and little berries that never develop. So you're going to end up with a very high skin to juice ratio, which will increase that malic acid I talked about. And that's a problem. So the wine, before you've even picked your grapes, much of the wine, the finished product, is being made in the vineyard. Just use it 1 stick for each one. There should be 16 sticks or whatever it is. This one here is Alpine borage honey. We make about 16 different varieties of honey, some of them multiflora. We make honey from avocado flowers. We make honey from this one, which is the Viper's bugloss flower, which mostly grows in the foothills of the mountains in the South Island. This is Pahudikawa honey. That's the beautiful flower that we saw. It's related to this flower over here. This is the bottle brush.
We have that in our front yard in
Beautiful.
Arizona.
Pahudikawa.
Yes.
This one is Rewa Rewa. That's the native honeysuckle. We also make honey from tauri, from clover, from lavender. This is the one that is the most sought after. It's medical grade UMF honey. This was studied by Professor Peter Mullen at Waikato University with a team of scientists for 20 years. They isolated this honey. Not all Manuka honey has it. Manuka is the native or Maori word for tea tree. So tea tree's been used around the world for thousands of years as oils, as soaps, and for health supplements. Yep, it's tea tree. He studied this honey for 20 years and they isolated it to a chemical called methyl glyoxal. It's an extremely effective antibiotic that in laboratory tests has been shown to be more effective than Staphylococcus aureus, which is the SA in MRSA. It is a standard treatment now in Helicobacter for the treatment of stomach ulcers, and it's very effective at treating Escherichia coli, so E. coli. It's used mostly in the medical industry. If that number went up to 25, you would pay $140 for that. This one at a duty-free shop on average would be about $45. I buy this at one particular supermarket downtown for about $22. But it's
In Auckland?
It's
Yeah.
about
Where?
$35 in the
At the
States.
countdown? At the
you
countdown?
can get it at Countdown and you can get it at New World. They have a contract with Arataki. There's only about 7 companies that have the license to use this trademark. These honeys are laboratory tested twice, one for their hydrogen peroxide count and one specifically for the level of methyl glyoxal per litre of honey.
And it's basically used for what again?
It's used for the treatment especially of
Non-healing wounds.
non-healing
so infected
wounds.
wounds. I
Yep.
use it all the time.
You rub it?
You put it on wounds and you bandage, so it's called a wet to dry bandage, where you put a thick amount over a wound, especially one that you can't close yourself, so it's just an open wound that's going to heal by second intention. So you just kind of soak the area. Kind of similar to like sugar. Lots of people will mix sugar with water and make kind of a paste, but this works much better. So it's kind of a granulating, kind of sucks out some of the bacteria. I wouldn't use it without an antibiotic orally, but in conjugation
It sounds like
it works
it's an
really well.
antibiotic too, where you can eat it and place it.
I don't know if eating it works the same as